Hi, BDC Live. Courtney here from the Office of Student Involvement. Right now, I'm joined by Yuki from the Community Peacemakers, talking a little bit about her co-curricular experience and what life outside the classroom looks like. Yuki, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so as we get started here, how about you tell us a little bit about you? Who are you? Where are you from? And what are you majoring in here at DePaul?
Well, my name's Yuki. I'm originally from Texas. Moved to Chicago to go to DePaul. I am a film major with a concentration in comedy filmmaking and a minor in community service studies. I'm a part of Community Peacemakers through the VIA community under mission and ministry. And yeah, we just have a great time there.
That's great. So I'm out of pure curiosity, what do you want to do with the combination of, you said film and remind me of or say your minor again?
Community service studies.
What do you want to do with that combination when you graduate?
So I've always kind of been interested in helping out community volunteering ever since I've been in high school. I'm very active with like social justice. So having those two programs together kind of helped me put my passion of film and writing and screenwriting together with like that lens of community service and being an ally to other communities. So it's just kind of like a unique way to put those two parts of myself and those two passions that I have together. So that's kind of why I just chose to do both.
Oh, that's great. And what's it been like with all the snow as of lately, being from Texas?
I actually love it. I have lived in Texas for basically my whole life. It's extremely hot there. So being here with the beautiful snow and everything is cold. I've always been someone who liked the winter instead of the summer. So moving here has been ideal.
Oh, that's great. Well, good. One of my coworkers here in student involvement is from Texas as well, and he is not the biggest fan of all of the snow. So it's always nice to hear from people in Texas who have a good appreciation of the snow.
Yeah, exactly. This was definitely like a fun fact. My name is Japanese for snow.
Oh,
So it was
wow.
like a long running joke in my family, like this was my destiny. I needed to live somewhere where it was cold and there was snow.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So I could talk about this probably for a long time and swap stories and everything, but we're here to talk about the Community Peacemakers, right? So how about you tell us a little bit about the organization?
Yeah, so Community Peacemakers is a restorative slash transformative justice program that commits to doing peace circles. So pre-pandemic, we would go and work with a community or with Chicago public high school students, and we would go in and introduce peace circles as a way to like promote peace and social justice and community building within those different school environments. So now we're just kind of bringing that whole format and that whole method of social justice and restorative justice into our DePaul community since we can't go out physically to other areas of Chicago.
Yeah. So for those who may be watching who aren't familiar with the term of restorative justice, would you mind explaining a little bit about what that means?
Yeah, so basically, in short, restorative justice is a practice that comes from many generations of activists where you recognize the harm within a community and you come together with the members of that community to heal and restore whatever that harm or whatever violence was committed within that group. So it's kind of a way of combating institutional like violence and other ways of holding people accountable, like prison systems and like traditional punishment systems. So it's just kind of a way of like going from the ground up and working with the people who are a part of those communities to recognize and heal versus further promote, further commit harm and just adding on to that harm and instead recognizing that they're human and mistakes and like things happen. So it's a way of just like healing together all on the same level.
Mhm. Well, and I know, especially right now with everything going on in our world, I imagine there's a lot of student interest and just a lot of conversations that you all are able to have. I know Community Peacemakers, when we were on campus, had a very active calendar, robust community. I'm curious if you can spend a little bit of time telling our viewers a little bit about how you all pivoted to this virtual environment.
Yeah, of course. as most people, have kind of encountered moving into a digital virtual world, it was difficult at first. It was definitely hard since we were so active in physically being out in different Chicago communities and different neighborhoods. It was hard to adjust to just being on a screen and not being able to interact with public school students anymore. So it was hard, but we were able to, and at this point, we have had a lot of practice in like connecting with other DePaul organizations, connecting with other DePaul students, and sharing our teachings and sharing our practices with those communities. And so far, it's worked out pretty well, all things considered.
That's great. Well, I'm glad to hear that. So have you had any like really successful situations or success stories that you all are really proud of from this year?
Yeah, so actually recently we had a event where it was Community Peacemakers partnered with Mission and Ministry, and we did a peace circle focused on Rosalie Rondeau, who is a Vincentian historical figure, and we kind of just had a talking circle, peace circle surrounding her and her relationship to nonviolence and her work. And it was just a lovely space of reflection and talking about how each of us like see peace and how we can like use historical figures like Rosalie Rondeau and many others to like inspire and to help us in our own journeys as activists and just people who promote empathy and want to imagine a more just world.
Yeah, that's spectacular. And I imagine students, like I mentioned earlier, students now more than ever, I have to imagine are really leaning into a lot of these conversations.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely sometimes there are events that are like a bit smaller because since everything is over Zoom and over like virtual alternatives, it's like hard to find a time to bring more and more people together. But we've been pretty flexible in trying to find like a large gathering of people over, even though it's over Zoom, but it's still an opportunity to talk to other people and to connect and build relationships.
Hmm. Well, and that's one of the things that I've been talking a lot with our student organization community about just generally. Like right now, I think we all know we would prefer to be in person for a lot of these things, but this is this opportunity to build a foundation. So when we do come back together, those relationships are a little bit stronger. And, we've had a chance to learn some of the baseline things and have some of those conversations just to keep it going with the hopes that it'll create a more robust relationship when we all come back together.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the like funniest and weirdest things I've missed of not being in person with the VIA community specifically is we would always have food and we would always like connect over food. And it was just one of those few things that I know I've talked to my other VIA community people and community peacemakers people that we just miss sitting in the kitchen and being and sharing that space together.
Yeah. Well, Yuki, this has been great. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. How can people who may be interested in community peacemakers stay connected moving forward?
Yeah, so Community Peacemakers, as I mentioned, we're part of the VIA community. So you can just follow our Instagram, DePaul VIA, and that's where we put all our events and all of the stuff that we're doing. So be sure to follow.
Great. Well, thank you again so much for taking the time to join us today. To all our viewers for BDC Live, we hope you stay connected throughout the day. We've got featurettes just like this happening with students from a variety of different organizations. But until next time, we hope you stay safe, but we will talk to you all soon. Bye-bye, everybody.